alive. We've been just sitting here, killing time, waiting. I know I was saying every single interview coming in saying, did you miss me? And oh man, did this turn out to be appropriate? Because here we are, how many hours later, doing the next interview. For those of you that weren't with us in the morning, I did one of the interviews. We had a little demonstration of emotional freedom technique and tapping, and we did a little tap on hopefully not having any technical issues during the summit. Sure enough, now you think your brain's not powerful? I'm telling you, whatever you say, what you focus on, here it is. And so, of course, StreamYard has gone out for the last few hours. I know they're probably very frustrated because it's not even their issue. It's an issue with Google Cloud services. So no disrespect, StreamYard. But I'm happy to say we are back here and we are up and running and we are ready to go. And I couldn't be more excited. I'm so glad we were able to get in here for the last few interviews of the day. And what a great one to start with. We're here with BJ. Oh my gosh, we're going to have so much good stuff to talk about with BJ Stromme. I want to cover just a couple of quick little things before we get into it. First thing, I still have fancy stuff. Here it is. Look for the links in the description, because if you don't have it yet, you can get not only BJ's free gift, but also free gifts from all of our people today, as well as all of our people from the entire summit, plus people who are sponsoring this show. So today we've got 3 different people who are giving you free gifts, including something free in the mail, which is kind of cool. Next, if you're not part of the Positive Mindset Entrepreneurs Club, that's where you get to hang out with all these cool experts. We know how to build our businesses the fun, light, and easy way, and you can be part of that action too. And right now, for a limited time, when you sign up for the Positive Mindset Entrepreneurs Club, you get this in the mail. And yes, we ship internationally. It's the pen of expectation. Whatever you write with it will come true. Oh yeah, that's the power of intention. That's what I'm talking about. So right now we are going to talk to BJ Stromme, and I couldn't be more excited to introduce her. She not only has 40 years experience in business, she's a personal confidence coach, and she has helps people not only with their confidence, but also to understand how to communicate with the clients that they're trying to attract. And did you catch that word? Attract. Imagine being able to build your business by attracting people, communicating with them. If you're having trouble closing or you're having trouble finding the right person in your sandbox, then you are going to love this interview. She is the author of Are You My Flock? And I cannot wait to dig in and start understanding more and more how to attract the right client and how to communicate with that client so you get the results that you want. And with that, let me introduce BJ Stromme. Yes, the crowd goes wild.
Thank you so much. I have been so excited just to be with you and everybody out there. This is just a really fun thing.
I know. I'm so excited to have you here too. And the other thing I didn't mention in my introduction, and she's kind of famous for it in the Positive Mindset Entrepreneurs Club, you can see it behind her. BJ lives off grid in Alaska. She does retreats up in Alaska. And so in the club, she's always posting these absolutely gorgeous, pictures like the one behind her. Is that your view out your front door?
Yeah, down by the dock.
Yeah, it's about like that, isn't it? It's just absolutely beautiful. So, BJ, let's dig in, because I know you are all over mindset. Like this is your jam too, just like it's my jam. And I think maybe what would be kind of fun to start with would be to start talking about how mindset works when it comes to attracting clients rather than finding clients. Do you want to speak to that just a little bit?
Oh, absolutely. I think, especially as entrepreneurs, direct sellers, MLM, we're solopreneurs. One of those main fears that people have is, where's my next client? If I don't have some new clients, I'm not going to make the money I want. I'm not going to make the impact I want. And that fear alone sits in our brains. And just like that crazy tapping thing, what we think about we start to bring about, because that's the energy that we put out when we're having conversations. There's that desperation, there's that hesitation in your language. And when we can switch that and we can be comfortable in ourselves, we can just step back and go, you know what? There are thousands, hundreds of thousands of people, even in a little bitty town, there's probably thousands of people. There's enough people for every business.
Totally.
And when you can start to take in that abundance, like Dana, we talk about that air, right? Water, the water behind me. I don't worry that the ocean's going to dry up. I don't worry that I'm going to run out of air. So when we can take that same mindset and begin to really talk to ourselves, not just shove it under the rug, but find the tools to be able to create that belief that I know I'm here for a reason. I know that what I have is valuable. It's a product, a service, a program. It makes a difference. And I know that the right people will be attracted to me when I feel great about what I'm doing. I show up as myself and I learn to speak their language so they can actually hear what I'm sharing with them.
Totally, 1,000%. I couldn't agree more. And it's so true. I'm so glad that you mentioned even in a small town, because I know we attract a lot of direct sellers, and you have 40 years of experience in the direct sales industry. And so it's good to remember that sometimes we get this scarcity mentality when we're in small markets as opposed to the internet. But even marketing on the internet, we get it. We forget how many thousands and tens of thousands and hundreds of thousands of people there are. I also like the point you made about, showing up as your best self, showing up in that positive mindset and attracting people. So when you speak their language, do you want to speak to that a little bit? Because I know you wrote a whole book about this. And so can you kind of give us some ins and outs about what you mean by that?
Sure. I think almost all of us have taken personality profiling. We've either done the Enneagram or Myers-Briggs or the DISC, and all of those help us begin to kind of understand ourselves and how others perceive us. And they help us begin to identify certain personality traits in the people in our lives. The hardest thing about those tests is nobody can remember them. If you walk into a networking event and you go, "Hi, I'm BJ. I'm an INTJ." Somebody else,
I'm an LMNOP.
Yeah, exactly. And I don't even care. So nobody can remember it. However, when you can put it in language that everybody understands, which is what my daughter and my son and I did through Are You My Flock, is taking those 4 basic core personalities and we tied them to birds.
Oh, that's nice.
So Dana,
do you want to explain those? What they are?
Sure.
Do you mind? Yeah.
No, not at all.
Yeah.
So let's say you and I went to a live networking. We walked into a networking group and we're kind of looking around the room and I said, "Hey, Dana, that gentleman over there, he's a raptor. He's an eagle. What are 3 words that would come to your mind? Just like that."
Oh, like leader, strong, self-assured probably would be like.
Yeah. How easy was that?
Yeah, easy.
Right?
Right.
And then
totally.
if we looked across the room and I said, "Oh, Mary over there, she's a dove," what would you think?
I would think like warm, gentle, loving, huggy. Is that a word? I don't think that's a word.
Yes, it's a word, especially for doves. So that's perfect. I mean, that really is exactly what the book is all about, is helping you identify who you're talking to. And it's easier than you think, through their language, through how they dress, through how they move,
nice.
through what they talk about, right? All of that helps you go, "Oh, I'm speaking with a dove. Let me speak their language." So instead of speaking really loud and forceful, you might back off just a little bit and allow yourself to be emotionally engaged, because that's what a dove enjoys.
I totally get that. So you can identify what people are, because they each have their own kind of characteristics, and then you can go, okay, this is a good language. Also, I have to say, you can see how this would really help with closing sales, or talking to them about whatever you want them to participate, whether it's a free discovery call or whether it's a lead magnet or whether it's your promotion. You probably, I'll get to that in a minute. So let's talk about the other types so that people here can identify. First of all, just from what you've heard so far, do we have any doves out there? Do we have any raptors out there? Let's hear it so far. And do you want to give the other types so people can say, I think that's me?
Sure, absolutely. So the other two are your great blue heron. I just call them herons. And if you think of great blue herons or egrets and you see them right out by the pond, by the river, in the field, what are they doing?
Well, they're checking stuff out.
Yeah, fast?
Yes.
Maybe.
Oh,
When they see it. When they see it, they'll go fast. But how long will a great blue heron stand by the side of the creek and wait for a fish or a frog?
Yeah, right. They're really methodical and they're very good. Yeah, they're very good that way, aren't they?
Yeah.
Yes.
So those are your detail-minded people. And
Yeah.
we need them. We so
Yes.
need them.
Yes.
And then your last one is your wonderful little songbirds.
That's me.
What do you think of when I say, oh, she's a songbird? What are
Chatter,
like 3
chatter,
words?
chatter, chatter, chatter. That's me. Social.
Yep, social. Isn't that fun? So it really makes it easy for you to move into their language. And the one thing I want to make sure everybody understands is you never change who you are authentically.
Yeah.
It's no different than learning a little Spanish or Russian or German or French, Italian. It doesn't matter. It's just a language that you learn enough to speak so that you can communicate and they feel heard, seen, and valued.
That's really a really good point of just it's like learning a little bit of something and understanding. Like I can know now if I was going to go up to a blue heron, I wouldn't come up and go, hey, and talk in my usual voice. Right. You'd slow down. You would maybe talk in more of an analytical way, address things that would be of interest to that person. And really, isn't that what we want to do when we want to communicate with people? Is we want to connect with people where they're at and in their language. I'll bet
Absolutely.
when you get good at this and you do this, you first of all probably develop deeper relationships. And second of all, how does this combined with mindset help to close more deals or find more of your ideal client?
It's huge. It's huge. And the biggest thing I would say is because we all have triggers. Maybe certain personalities rub you the wrong way, ruffle your feathers, so to speak. And that may be tied to, as you were growing up, there might have been an uncle who always pinched your cheek and talked real loud. And you're like, oh, overbearing people drive me crazy. Or you might have had an aunt who was really mushy and emotional and she cried all the time. And you're like, oh, come on, pull it together. So we have triggers, right? So we have these triggers. And when we come across someone, whether it's a prospect, a client, a friend, a family, if we understand how they think, how they process information, how they're going to talk and relate to us, we can let a lot of that go. We go, oh yeah, let that go. Just brush it off. They're talking bold because that's how they communicate. Now, it doesn't mean you shouldn't have boundaries, but it does mean that there are things that we don't need to take personally when we're working with someone who maybe isn't our flock. We look for what's good, bring out the best in them. That's what we want.
That is what we want. Oh, we lost BJ. Isn't it great to be a brain trainer? I have to tell you, honestly, you would think like a person would freak out when you're having a day like this, but I'm just having the best day ever.
I had a 3-second break.
Yeah,
I didn't do it.
Did you go get a cup of coffee while you were out?
Not enough time. I'll just have a sip.
Yeah, that's right. No, I agree with you. It is about bringing the best out in people and just having deeper connections and more meaningful connections. One of the things I think people might be concerned about is if they are greeting people, would they be like they're fakey? Like they're not being themselves if they're speaking a different language. Do you want to speak to that at all?
Absolutely. First, it's mindset.
Yeah.
You have to say, I want to connect because I care. I want to connect not to manipulate someone, but because I truly care. So even things like when you learn Spanish, Like you say, oh, no español. And somebody goes, oh, well, they don't speak Spanish. They don't think you're being fakey. They just realize you don't speak Spanish. Your accent's way off, but you're trying. And when we do our best, and I always say, give it your best shot versus try, because your brain reads that differently. Totally. When you give it your best shot to speak someone's language and you're doing it because you care, they're going to feel it. And if they need you to speed up, let's say you're speaking slower than you normally would with a heron, and you kind of get a little feedback body wise, like, why are you speaking so slow? Speed it up a little bit, but you don't have to flip right back into maybe your dove, or your songbird or your raptor.
Right.
You read them, you mirror, and it's mindset. If you go into it authentically, lovingly, you really care, you'll work around that.
You're totally right. You're totally 100% right. I'm so glad you brought up mindset too, because I'd like to have you speak a little bit to how mindset helps you in your business. Like, how do you feel about, is there a time before you were really being conscious about mindset and a time after? Like, do you feel like you've made some kind of a shift that's really helped you to build your business the fun, light, and easy way? Because I think, honestly, BJ, you're like a fantastic example of implementing mindset. And you've been at this a long time, like I have too. And, do you just want to speak to how it's helping you on a day-to-day basis?
Well, sure, absolutely. We all start somewhere, right?
Right.
I was first introduced to Dana in 2012. And I was a single mom trying to work my business. I was in a kind of a discouraged place because there'd been a big change in the company. Things weren't going like they had. I knew how to build. I knew how to work. But again, that mindset. When you get discouraged, you get thrown off track. Sometimes it's hard to get back on the horse and go for a ride again. And I was in that space as a single mom trying to make everything work. And I came across Dana's book, Train Your Brain. And of course, when you're hungry for something, it comes to you. And I started digging into it. And the best thing it did for me was open my mind, not so much to things like focus and mindset, but to the neuroplasticity, to the ability to actually change what's going on in your mind. And by changing how we think, that can bring a change of results. And so that was my start of playing in what Dana calls her sandbox. And I've been following her ever since. It has been a life changer for me. I can't even begin to tell you. Every one of us have stories, things that have happened in our lives that are hard. And being able to go back to tools, things like the transitory statement, things like mantras and rants and I am statements, and all of the tools that we use to retrain our brain so it doesn't always run down that same track. We're not stuck in a rut. We have the ability to go, yeah, this happened, but
yeah, right.
I'm going to be okay. Today I'm on my feet. Today I can make a difference. It's a life saver. Seriously.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more, because I use it myself, and I love everything you said. Thank you so much for your generous comments and everything that you said. It's really a matter of understanding that your brain isn't fixed. And I'm so glad you brought up that point about neuroplasticity, because I think sometimes we can feel like I was always raised in a negative environment, or I've always been negative, so it's too late for me. And you just great points all around, BJ. How do you keep yourself motivated and happy? Like, do you have things that you could give to other people that you say, here are some fun tricks that I use?
Yes, definitely. I have this fun thing I call 5 pennies in the morning. I picked 5 things that I want to make sure help me set my day up. And one of them is intentional action before I get out of bed. Gonna have a good day. This is a good day. Second is the high 5 habit from Mel Robbins. It's just kind of fun. Third is writing down in my journal, because I want to just think about the day, be grateful for my day. And fourth is Positive Prime. If you have not checked out Positive Prime, it's in the Positive Mindset Entrepreneurs Club.
Yeah,
say that fast.
Yeah.
It's a powerful tool. And the other one, I just give myself a penny for getting up, put my face on, and be ready for my day.
That's the just because penny. So I like this. So you you literally have 5 pennies that you
Yeah.
set out. And if
Yeah.
you've done those 5 things, so it's like if I set my intentional action, now for those of you that aren't familiar with intentional action, it's really setting your intentions, knowing that you're going to feel good before you take action. And then each time you do your high five in the mirror. And if you do your high five in the mirror, you give yourself another penny. And so it sounds to me like by the end of the day, you can look and see that stack mover that you've got those 5 pennies, and you can feel like, okay, I'm doing the things I need to do to
Mhm.
stay on top of mindset. Like, talk about make it easy. That is
Yeah.
really a good idea. It makes it so simple. And you're reaffirming in your brain, like you're telling yourself every time you do that, that this is working. I'm training my brain. I did this. I'm good. I'm on top of it. Like what better messages to be sending to your brain? I love that, BJ. And also what I really like about it is you can pick your own 5 things to put to
Yes.
use for your pennies. So what mindset things do you want to pick? Pop them in the chat. Oh, I love it. We got comments. Laura says if a heron and a songbird had a baby, that would be her. I,
Yeah. Yep. There is a
she,
mix. I'm going to write another book that's called The In-Betweeners.
maybe is one of your parents a heron and one a songbird, Laura? Just saying, possibly, right? Powerful stuff. Hey, Zed, good to see you. Couldn't make it earlier, but you're here for this. I'm so glad that's great. Well, I'm glad you all are able to join us. So those are fantastic, BJ. And if somebody is coming to you that you work with and they're having challenges, do you have any kind of superpower tips that you give them to help them kind of start to turn around their businesses? Like, what is it? Is it something that is a mindset step that you give them, or is it an action step that you give them? What is the best combination of things where you're like, if you do these few things in your business, you're going to start to see better results?
Well, it's a good question because most people come to me because their business isn't growing. They're not connecting with as many clients as they want. And when we stop and look at, okay, what are you telling yourself?
Yeah.
What is your story around your business? Where do you want to go? And then we take the time to write down those things that are stories, the things that are running in your head that are keeping you from what you say you want and what you are getting, because that's the problem, is the in-between piece. And we just start to work on, how do I tell a different story? How do I begin to expect it, not in a fake way, but in a real way? And I give them tools to be able to move through their hesitation, their fears, their frustration, and begin to be open. I think that's one of the best things I can share with each of you. And Dana, I think you probably taught me this, is when you're having trouble saying, I am, attracting my ideal client, or I am building a successful business, begin to put in the word open. I am open, because your unconscious brain won't fight with the word open.
Yeah.
But negative Nelly's going to step on your shoulder and go, no, you're not, if you say it the other way. So mindset's first. We work on that. We work on changing the story, getting really clear on what they want. Who is your ideal client? Where are you showing up? Is it feeling good? Is it authentic? Where do you love to show up? And how can I help you speak the language of your ideal client so they hear you and go, really, tell me more. What about me? And then we go from there.
Yeah, it's such a powerful combination, this idea of being able to rewrite your stories and then combining that with the communication and being able to speak differently to people, speak differently to yourself and then speak differently to people.
Yes.
There's got to be a tagline in there for you, BJ. I don't know what it is, but it feels like that's the combo that you've got going there. So I love that. Very, very good. And so any other parting advice, anything else you'd like to say to people who are wanting to build their businesses the fun, light, and easy way and become joypreneurs themselves?
Start with knowing who you are. So I would encourage you all, go over and take the quiz, understand who you are, understand how you're speaking to others, and then begin to just develop the willingness to have open conversations and look at your business as you want it to be, and find the tools, connect with a coach, follow Dana, make sure you have support, accountability to get through those tough things, because it is hard to do it on our own. Most of us just do much, much better If we have someone we can bounce ideas off of, we have a coach, we have a mentor, we have a mastermind, I would highly recommend. That's probably the number one thing I would say. If you're serious about building your business, don't do it alone.
Wow, isn't that the truth? Here, here. Well said, BJ. What an awesome advice all around. Thank you so much. I just appreciate it so much. And I know, like, that was great, wasn't it? Don't you go like, oh my gosh, there's just so much goodness here. Well, guess what? Guess what BJ has done for us? Do you know how I keep saying, go get their free gift and wait till you see what they've got? Well, BJ is going to give you access to an entire course, attracting your ideal clients naturally. What if you could identify exactly who your ideal client was and attract them instead of going out and feel like you're grasping? Go get that free gift. How do you get it? You get it by going to the link in the description. Go to the link in the description. Go get that free gift. Get the free gifts from our other speakers today. And guess what? When you do that, you're also going to get notified when the other free gifts come out from our future speakers that are coming up. So you have an opportunity to really get a smorgasbord of fantastic stuff, including being able to identify your ideal client, identify your strengths to attract them. Go check that out right now. I want to give you BJ's favorite mantras. It's all good. It all works out. I love my life, and
Yep.
you've got this. Yeah. Oh, yes. You know I love that one, don't you? And so, without with a moment's notice here, I'm going to be zipping out again because I'm coming back again at the top of the hour. But I want to give you this little reminder that when you look in the description and you join us in the Positive Mindset Entrepreneurs Club, you get this pen in the mail, the expectation pen. Everything you write with it comes true. Join us in the Positive Mindset Entrepreneurs Club. Be around these amazing speakers. You know what's cool about the club? You can come in there and you can say, you know, gosh, I really liked what BJ had to say. I want to learn more. And you can actually be in there and engaging and get tips and get hints and hang out and share ideas and share experiences. Like, we're so lucky to all be together. Now, sit tight because in 30 minutes, I'm coming back and I'm going to be talking to Carolyn Cooper. She is an energy healing teacher and coach. So she's going to be talking about the power of energy healing. Ooh, I know you're going to like that. I will see you then. And as BJ just said, favorite mantras of all time, you've totally got this. I will see you in 30 minutes.